The culture at Jordan Foster is one of
caring.
It's family.
We're enthusiastic.
Performance excellence.
It's a culture where people actually really care about each other. We have each other's backs.
Do the job right. Take charge. Enthusiastic, caring. And then one of my favorites is do the right thing.
Well, those are our core values that we decided upon as a management team many years ago that really are guiding principles.
The values shine through in everything that everybody does.
They all lead into one another. You can't have one without the other. You know, one of our core values is job done right. We're not going to do a job correctly or right if you don't care, you know? And part of caring is doing the right thing, because you're not going to walk away from something that's not right. And you do these things because you're passionate, you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, but in order to do all of these, you have to take charge.
Our empowerment comes from giving our people the tools they need to do the job.
We really trust in the employees that we bring in, and we actually give them responsibility, and we look forward to them helping the company move further.
I used to be quiet, even in the way I talk. By the experience, by the way this company has pushed me to better myself, it brings out the best in me.
Another core value is job done right. Well, you build things right the first time by creating a culture where people are actually able to communicate with one another.
The great thing about Jordan Foster is that we have people who are not only knowledgeable, but they come to work with a positive attitude. They come to work taking the initiative. They come to work with the intention to do the right thing.
Always do the right thing, no matter what. If you never take any problem home with you, if it's a problem at work, or if it's an issue that one day can haunt you, you never take it home. You always make sure you call somebody.
There's no exception to doing the right thing.
I love everything about this company, and it's okay to have fun at work. Other organizations don't even think about fun or think about someone's well-being or happiness, and we actually do that here.
We could go to any job site and we pump the people up because they know we care about them. They know we're there for them. They're our most important resource, and they know that we care about them.
Safety pretty much permeates everything we do.
A lot of organizations create amazing safety processes and procedures that are separate and in almost like conflict with operations. And Jordan Foster doesn't do it that way.
We want you going home to your family the same way you came to us in the morning.
Our greatest strengths are clearly our people. We're a people business. We couldn't do anything without our people.
That's what we are here. We're a family, we're a team, we work together. We face obstacles together, we overcome them, and we celebrate like a family also. The good, the bad, and the ugly, we do it as a family.
We take care like each other, like family.
I started with this company 20 years ago, and I've always been supported, I've always been helped, I've always been pushed, I've always been taken care of.
I've been through many situations in my life battling from a bone marrow transplant to cancer. I was comforted, and I knew that my family was also here. I had so much support from everyone.
All I wanted to do was have a career in the safety and risk management profession because it's what I loved, but I also wanted to be able to take care of my family as well. And Jordan Foster gave me that, and I have taken that opportunity and run with it, and it has been a life-changing, rewarding experience.
Jordan Foster Construction, what a great place to work.
Hey, welcome to Jordan Foster again. In the next series of videos, you're going to learn the fundamentals and the basics of some of the things that we do, and you're going to learn about safety, whether it's fall protection, excavations, confined space, and things of that nature. So just watch these videos. Again, just the fundamentals. You will have other courses later on in your career or in the next couple of weeks that we're going to go into detail of how we do things. Again, welcome.
Hi, I'm Tricia Kagerer. I'm the EVP of Risk Management for Jordan Foster Construction. Welcome. I'd like to introduce you to our core values. So our first core value is job done right. We do everything we can to plan our jobs with safety, quality, and productivity in mind, and we build them right the first time. Take charge. It means taking responsibility for your actions and for those around you as well, and make a commitment to the job that you've signed up to do and take initiative. Enthusiastic. Come to work with passion. Be eager. Be willing to try the new things and to go the extra mile for our company. Caring. It means being loyal. It means taking pride in Jordan Foster Construction and being helpful to our team members whenever there's an opportunity to do so. And then finally, do the right thing. Be a leader. Be respectful. Treat others the way you'd want to be treated. And always think of how your actions impact the company and those around you. So that's about it. Congratulations, and we're happy that you're here. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Jordan Foster. I'm Damian Alvarez, EHS Director, and I'd like to share our risk and EHS philosophy. Here at Jordan Foster, we value safety, and we see it as part of our core values, and it's part of our conditions of employment. We will not sacrifice your safety or the safety of our people for production or for monetary gain. For example, if you ever see something that just doesn't look right and you know it's not safe, you have every opportunity to stop that action and get with one of your supervisors to make sure that this does not go through, or that we think of a way so we can do it productively but safely at the same time.
Here at Jordan Foster Construction, we want to emphasize that your psychological safety is just as important as your physical safety on a project job site. And it is with this commitment to our total worker health that we not only have an employee assistance program, which is available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely confidential, but we also have trained team members within our EHS department as well as our project teams that are not only there to give you awareness, but are also there to give you support should you ever find yourself in need. Here at Jordan Foster Construction, we use a safety data analytics program called HCSS Safety. HCSS Safety is a complete safety program with both web and mobile-based applications. With over 1,600 pre-built meetings, inspections, and JHA templates, this allows you to comprehensively track both your lagging and leading indicators. More importantly, this allows you to identify risk and keep all Jordan Foster employees safe. The HCSS Safety app features more than 1,500 pre-built and fully customizable toolbox safety talks. This also includes various job site inspections. As well as job hazard analysis templates. Field team members can also track crew skills and certifications, expiring trainings, and expired trainings. Submit near misses that occur on a job site. Safety observations, whether they are good or bad, and incident reports. And report incidents. Your safety managers collect and analyze this data to see leading and lagging indicators of unsafe trends. With hands-on training in the field and web-based training via HCSS, you will learn how to utilize the HCSS Safety app to its potential. Here at Jordan Foster Construction, we use an LMS system called MindForge. With this app, we have the ability to send alerts, assign courses, and have communication with project team members in the field. For more information on this app, please reach out to your area safety manager.
Here at Jordan Foster, we started the Field Safety Leader Program, which is a program that helps highlight those who are leaders without a title. We select those who others naturally gravitate toward in the field to seek for advice. Here, we meet once a month and we go over leadership skills and safety education. This is a one-year program and we do a graduation process, and from there we move on to mentors. So if you're interested, talk to your superintendent, talk to one of us, your safety managers, and the job.
Every crew needs to perform a THA, task hazard analysis, before the beginning of the work shift. A THA consists of what work is being performed for the day, what the hazards associated with the work are, and how to avoid these hazards. At the end of this, everybody must make sure they sign the form. Should the task change, then we must update our THA for the day. THAs help open a line of communication with all employees involved in the work.
Con la maquinaria, caídas, incendios, con la carga suspendida, ¿sí? ¿Cómo prevenirlos? Usando la caja de seguridad, usando la escalera dentro de la caja de seguridad, usando los 3 puntos de contacto en la escalera, con el extinguidor, el serrucho, hay que tener el extinguidor, hay que usar la careta, los tapones para los oídos, usar el PPE, tener cuidado cuando llevemos la pipa con la carga suspendida, que no nos va a golpear. Y pues es todo, señores. Muchas gracias.
Welcome back, Jordan Foster team. My name is Jorge Acuña, your safety representative, and in this video we're going to talk about the importance of ergonomics and introduce to you our stretch and flex program. Emphasizing a strong ergonomics policy can help reduce injuries, and it can also help with muscle tightness if done consistently and correct. Ergonomics isn't just about stretching before you do a task. There's many variables that we need to consider before and while we're performing a task. We need to think about our posture. How long are we positioned in that form while we're performing the task? Are we lifting things adequately? Are we lifting them the right way? Remember, Jordan Foster's policy is after 50 pounds, we need to have somebody help us lifting that stuff. There are 4 categories of stretching. You have your active stretching, your passive stretching, your dynamic stretching, and your static stretching.
Active stretching. Purposely stretching a muscle using another muscle group to assist in the movement. Example, forearm stretch. Passive stretching. Generally involves using gravity or an outside force to assist in the movement. Example, hamstring stretches via toe touches. Static stretching. This is the stretching of everyone's youth, the most commonly used and generally what people think of first when the subject is mentioned. It usually involves targeting a muscle group via posing and holding the stretch for a time, usually 10 to 60 seconds. Example, forward lunge. Dynamic stretching. Usually involves moving the muscles through a full range of motion without anything more than a brief pause in any one position. Examples of this include the windmill and the forward lunge. Note that dynamic and static stretches can fall into either active or passive categories. With the new knowledge we have, let's try a few dynamic stretches. The walking lunge. Stand with your arms on your waist, take a step forward and lunge. Make sure to keep your front knee in line with your hip and ankle while lowering your back knee toward the floor without touching it. The bend and reach. Feet shoulder width apart, reach above your head. From this position, lower both arms, sit your hips back, bend your knees, and reach through your legs with your fingertips. Make sure to keep both heels firmly planted on the ground and maintain your balance. The windmill. Bend the hips and knees while rotating to one side. Reach down and touch the outside of the appropriate foot with the opposite hand and look towards the rear. Return to the starting position. Repeat, count 1 to the opposite side, returning to the starting position. The standing torso twist. Feet shoulder width apart, lift arms until parallel to the ground, clasp hands together, engage abs, rotate torso until arms align with body, then rotate through the center until aligned with the other side. This exercise can also be conducted with a weighted ball.
Hold on. Okay, so why was this a near miss? He didn't hit it, nothing is damaged. A lot of people would call that an observation, but this in reality is a near miss because there could have been damaged equipment, okay? Or if somebody was nearby, walking behind there, we could have seriously hurt somebody. So this is the reason why this is a near miss. There was action going on, and at any moment, he could have hit that piece of equipment. That is what a near miss is. So that right there is an observation. Our operator was not in any immediate danger to life or health, but he was not wearing a seatbelt. This is a good example of an observation. So we've been talking about near misses and observations. Here we have a good example of an observation. We have a ladder that is not technically in use. There's nobody working around here. There's nobody on it. There's nobody on top of this connex, but it is set up incorrectly. Doesn't have a 4-to-1 pitch. Does not have the 3 feet above the landing zone. We can tell this ladder hasn't been inspected because it doesn't have any stickers on it. But this is still an observation because of the fact that there's nobody working on it or near it. If there was somebody on it, that would be a near miss. Hold on.
What happened? What'd I do?
Okay, let's look at this real quick. All right, guys, this is a near miss. Why is it a near miss? We had this ladder that is not installed correctly, doesn't have the 3 feet like we talked about earlier. It's not attached at the bottom, yet somebody was about to go up it, and at any moment, his health could be in danger due to this. So this is a near miss.
A big thing to consider is where you park your personal vehicles on a job site. Always make sure you park only in an approved designated area. Watch for delivery trucks, equipment, the traveling public, pedestrians, and workers. If you park in an area that is not approved, Jordan Foster Construction is not liable for any damages done to your vehicle. Headphones are not allowed on the projects. Construction sites have plenty of noise, and with headphones on, it prevents you from being able to hear backup alarms, sirens, whistles, horns, or someone talking. Workers are not allowed to ride on the beds of trucks on a job site. Should you need to ride in a foreman or superintendent's truck, always make sure you ride in the cab or finding another safe way for transport. Anytime you are working or walking through operating heavy equipment, you must always make contact with the operator and wait till they wave you through before you cross its path.
So George, besides our security systems that we have on our projects, what else can we do to safeguard everything on it?
So the first thing is we want to make sure that we properly secure the fencing around the area where we have our tools or our office trailers.
Okay.
Have a lock on the gates, have barricades in front of the gates to make sure that it's closed.
Okay.
On all of our trailers, we have trailer locks. That way we make sure that they can't get into them,
okay.
They can't steal them.
So George, also on our projects where we have a lot of heavy equipment such as excavators and graders and things of that nature, or even forklifts and bobcats, what can we do for those?
So the number one thing to do is try to park it in an area that's always visible.
Okay.
We want to prevent also vandalism, but the biggest thing is with the equipment, park it all in one area, and we always want to make sure that we lock the equipment and we take the master keys out of them.
Gotcha. We want to take those master keys out so nobody can get on this piece of equipment and try to either horseplay on it while we're all out for those couple of days, or to prevent the theft of a piece of equipment. Also, make sure that we have lights such as this one right here. And if we can, those lights have to be turned on so our security systems can catch everything that's happening on site. Also, George, how can we use HCSS to help us in this process?
So under forms in HCSS, there is a checklist that helps you check off every box before you leave a project to make sure that there's not any steps that you have missed to make sure that everything is secure. Whenever you arrive to a project for the first time, you always want to make sure that we have a bulletin board posted. It should be in the yard or in the project trailer. In this bulletin board, you'll find the labor laws, you'll find the project's emergency contacts, the project's hospital and clinic that is designated close to the area, and you'll find other detailed information that you may need to know for the project.
Okay, so we're going to talk about emergency access and egress, or in other words, how to get in and out of a building or a project site as soon as possible if there's an emergency. Every project is going to have something like this, a map or a diagram that shows you where to go and where to meet, where to muster. A project superintendent like Bobby Rotter here at South Dwell will explain this to you when he does the project site orientation. He's also going to let you know where the first aid kit is at or the eye wash station, and also going to give you other directions in case other emergencies arrive, such as a weather emergency, fires, or anything like that. Most job sites will have an air horn, and when they blast it 1, 2, or 3 times, it means different things. So get with your superintendent, that way you know exactly where to meet and what those air horns mean.
So an important thing to remember is in the first aid process, just know where the locations are at for your respective first aid kits. They're either going to be in your trailers or in your foreman's trucks. If you're ever going to be assisting in the first aid process and there happens to be blood, just make sure you're donning the appropriate PPE. So eye protection, a form of mouth protection and nose protection, and gloves. Be sure to know who your designated and trained CPR personnel are for the project.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is incident and incident reporting. We here at Jordan Foster, our philosophy is that we report everything, no matter how minor, no matter what time of day it is. If we're working night, you got a sticker in your hand or a small little cut that's only first aid, we would still like to know. So you look for your superintendent or you look for your safety representative and you let them know of this incident. We also really like for you to report either near misses or observations that you see. These go to the same people, superintendents, foremen, or safety representatives.
All projects have chemicals that are used on a daily basis. It is important that all bottles and containers are labeled and marked with the information on the chemical that is in use. Jobs need to have SDSs for all chemicals on site. Jordan Foster Construction uses SDS BinderWorks for this. We look for the QR code from the SDS BinderWorks app and scan it to get into our SDS library. We can also use hard copies on file or use our phones with other sources, but we must know where the SDSs are and how to get to them and how to read them. Safety data sheets have all the information you will need for any chemical that you are using, including Section 2, Hazard Identification, Section 4, First Aid Measures, Section 5, Firefighting Measures, Section 6, Accidental Release Measures, Section 7, the handling and storage of the chemical, and Section 8, Exposure Controls and PPE.
All right, today right now we're going to talk about personal protective equipment, or PPE, and what you need on a project when you get to the project, and what you need to wear 100% of the time when you're on the project. No matter what you're doing or what task you're doing, these items have to be worn at all times. The first thing is going to be the hard hat. As you see Chewy right here, our senior safety manager, he's wearing his hard hat, which is a Z89.1 hard hat type 1. Has to be worn at all times. The next thing you see are his glasses, Z87.1. Those have to be worn at all times too. And if you bring your own glasses from home or you want to buy your own, that's okay. Whether you buy Oakley's, Ray-Bans, Costas, whatever they are, you can do that, but they still have to be Z87.1. The next thing is his vest. His vest is a Class 2 vest. Okay, there are certain tasks that we do that it's going to require a Class 3 vest. Ask your superintendent or your safety manager when you need a Class 3 vest. The next thing that we're looking at are the boots. The boots are ASTM F2413, which can be either steel toe or composite toe. All Jordan Foster employees are required to wear these on the project. Depending on how you're hired is when you get your boots. Ask your safety manager or your superintendent for the boot voucher.
Jordan Foster Construction offers a work boot program, which helps you qualify for a boot voucher after your 90 days of your hire date. So you always want to make sure you remember that date that you got hired on. After you qualify, you can get with your superintendent or your safety representative in your area. Then you'll be handed a piece of paper that looks like this one. It'll have your name, project number, and the amount for the voucher. So basically, Jordan Foster's vouchers cover $100 for a pair of boots. The way it works is you go to the Cavenders, you select the boots that you're gonna use. Whenever you're about to check out, you hand them the piece of paper. They will get a copy of your driver's license as well. Then, once that's done, they will remove $100 off the total price for those boots that you're buying. Once you redeem your first voucher, you are eligible for another voucher every year after that. We also offer a prescription eyewear voucher program, which is the same thing. This covers up to $125 for a pair of prescription safety glasses. The paper will tell you what stores you can use for your prescription safety glasses. Just remember, our field teams, again, qualify after the 90 days of your hire date, and for salaried employees, you qualify immediately.
Jordan Foster Construction provides porta-johns for all field teams. You want to make sure that they are readily available and have hand sanitizer or hand washing stations. We must also provide porta-johns for ladies in the field and a lock with a key so that they can access. Make sure that porta-johns are at a walking distance from the work area. If not, get one moved closer. Also make sure that there is enough for the amount of workers in the area and that they're being cleaned.
So I'm gonna show you how to properly inspect a fire extinguisher and how to properly use a fire extinguisher. You wanna make sure that if it has a hose, that it's in good condition, it's not cracked, it's not rotted. You wanna make sure that it's not rusted at the top or the bottom. So you want to also make sure that you properly know how to read the inspection tag on a fire extinguisher. This one is dated March of 2021, so that means that that's the month that it was inspected. So March of 2022 is whenever it needs to be re-inspected. So for the inspection, you want to make sure that you check that the arrow is on the green. That means that it is properly filled, that it has a pin and a pin keeper. The pin keeper is so that the pin doesn't dislodge and the fire extinguisher doesn't accidentally discharge. So now we're going to talk about how to properly use a fire extinguisher. What you want to do is you want to use the pass method. You want to pull the pin, you want to aim at the base of the fire, you squeeze the handle, and then you sweep.
First, make sure that you inspect your cords daily. Go through the extension cord and check to make sure there's no exposed conductors, that the outer sheathing is intact. Also make sure that there's no curling in your extension cords because that is an indication that the ground has been overheated. Lastly, make sure that the ground prong is intact on your cords. The ground pin will be the one thing that will protect you from electrical shock. In construction, when using temporary power cords, always make sure that they are plugged into a GFCI protected receptacle. Always test your receptacles to make sure they are in good working condition. And if the receptacle that you're plugging into does not have GFCI protection, you can always use a GFCI protected pigtail. Ground fault circuit interrupters are very important because they will trip the breaker to stop the flow of the current, prevent electrical shock.
Hand and power tools must be stored properly and orderly. Before using a tool, always make sure that you inspect it, use the right tool for the job, and you are properly trained on how to use the tool. If you're using a tool to cut, it is ideal that you cut at a waist level. Do not use any part of your body to lean material against when cutting. Keep guards on the tools and use the handles. Do not modify any of the tools. Here's an example of a tool that's been taken out of service. It's missing its guard and a handle. You also want to inspect the cords. If they are not double insulated tools, you want to make sure that they have a ground prong.
It is important to note that before you begin your work process, you communicate during your THA with all parties involved around overhead power lines, the hazards associated with them, and the location of them. So one of the first things to do on a project is locate all power lines that run through your project. You want to make sure that you have signs like these posted. That way any pieces of equipment, trucks that drive through the job sites are aware of the power lines in the area. So now that we have established all of the power lines on our job site and we have all the signs, we want to make sure that we maintain a minimum of 10 feet away from power lines at all times, depending on the equipment that you're operating. In the event that you have to drive under or work near a power line, it is important that you designate a spotter until that task is complete.
Okay, we're going to talk about fall protection. Jordan Foster adheres to the policy of 6 foot. I know there is exceptions in the rules according to OSHA standards, but Jordan Foster requires you to be protected at 6 foot, whether you're working on steel erection or you're working on a scaffold. You have to be protected at 6 foot. How you're protected depends on the task that you are doing. You can be protected by guardrails like the ones we see here. You can be protected by a personal fall risk system. We'll talk about that later. Or you can protect yourself by hole covers. We'll talk about that later too. But you must remember that at the moment that you can fall 6 foot or more, you have to be protected.
So before you get on a scaffold, always remember to verify that it has been inspected by a competent person for the day before using it. So there's 2 types of tags with the scaffold. Green tag indicates that it has been inspected by a competent person and it is ready to be used, and a red tag means that it has been put out of service. So the following things are things that you want to look at in a scaffold. You always want to make sure that it is on a level surface. You always want to make sure that you have access to every level of a scaffold. You want to make sure that it is fully planked and it has guardrails. And the last thing, depending on the height, you want to make sure that it is secured to the structure.
When dealing with stairs and ramps, you're always going to need them when we have a break in elevation of 19 inches or more. If you're going to use stairs, they have to be uniform and they can't vary from more than 1/4 inch. After you have 4 stairs or they go more than 30 inches tall, you have to have rails. Technically you only need 1 rail, but it's always best practice to put 2 rails. And both rails have to be uniform like they are here. Can't be higher than they got to go parallel to each other. So when working with stairs and they have a stair rail, it's important to remember that it has to be no less than 30 inches tall. And also we have to remember that the stairs or the ramp cannot be less than 30 degrees and not more than 50 degrees.
So we're going to talk about inspecting ladders and how to read the labels on the ladders. You have a weight requirement on your ladders. This is a type 1A ladder. It's rated at 300 pounds. It's on here in English and Spanish. This label tells you how to open up the ladder, how to inspect the ladder. You're supposed to make sure your hinges are locked in the open position. That's the only way to use an A-frame ladder. You inspect your cleats, your steps. Make sure that they're intact, they're not bowed, they're not bent, that the side rails are not cracked. Always make sure you use 3 points of contact when you climb the ladder, going up, and when you come down, when you're de-escalating the ladder. You always make sure that you have the proper ladder for the work that you're using. A-frame ladders are to be used in the open position. Extension ladders are made to be leaned up against the structure.
So the three things that define a confined space has a restriction in entry and exit, it's not designated for continuous occupancy, and it's large enough for somebody to get into.
Always remember to fill out your THA and a confined space checklist before you begin your work.
When performing the confined space checklist, you need to identify these three people: the entry supervisor, the attendant, and the authorized entrance. So remember, before you even get into a confined space, you always want to make sure that you test the quality of the air. So the other things that you're going to need is you're going to need an air monitor to test the quality of the air inside the confined space. You're going to need a form of entry and exit, whether it's a ladder, whether it's a tripod, and you're going to need a harness and a form of rescue in case of an emergency.
Hey, Damien Alvarez here, EHS Director for Jordan Foster. You just got through watching our safety orientation video for new hires. You're going to get a lot more videos coming up using MindForge and HCSS to go over specific videos on fall protection, excavations, and things of that nature, depending on what your job title entails. So be on the lookout for those. We thank you for sitting down with these videos. I hope it was entertaining, and welcome to Jordan Foster.